I'm really glad I respect for uber busted damaged build. This is a lot closer to what I was kind of hoping for. This game got hard for a while, and I don't mind challenge, but I don't like just getting wrecked constantly and being like, man, how do I win? This feels better. I think I will always be a Care Bear scrub when it comes to these things. It's just like, no. Give me the power fantasy setting. I think that's always going to be true. That, like, if I can play a game and get the power fantasy mode, that's what I'll do. It's rare that I will want to play a game and just be like, yeah, let's make this really hard. Let's see, if you want to finish this game, expect another 2 hours. Yeah, that seems reasonable. Obviously, a little bit later tonight, but if I can finish it, there's something really satisfying about finishing an entire game and just having that done.
Should have brought a pack horse.
Oh, really? Already?
I'm being overwhelmed.
Get up.
I'll make them pay.
I guess so. Wow. Art for hard's sakes for people who intend to spend 1,000,000 hours grinding it over and over again. And I think there's a market for that, but boy, I have left that market a long time ago. Let's see, anything else? Yeah, let's just dump a couple of these things off. I think the rest of this I'm probably just gonna get rid of as well.
What are you looking for? A new weapon, perhaps?
Let's see. That has cooldown reduction for skills, which I think would actually be good, but later. I'm looking forward to seeing what the, like, some of the endgame equipment for this game does end up looking like. Like, you've been playing this way past the point of... Let's pick up one of these. Way past the point of reason, just for ridiculous nonsense. Quite a while since I finished a game. Getting pretty close to ending Kingdoms of Amalur. Amalur was a fun game. It's such a shame that that they kind of mismanaged the studio and didn't make another one. Because, like, the further I get away from that game, the more I realize, like, it was actually pretty damn good. It had issues, for sure, but, like, it was fun. Also, before I go too much further, sorry, I must have missed it because of cutscenes, but thank you, Look Mage, for the 11-month resub. I've been kind of scarce for a long time, but I've been enjoying stuff. Unfortunately, it does not actually show me the rest of the message. Here, I can check in a second. But thank you, all the same. See, currently THQ Nordic owns the rights, and that's actually kind of exciting, because they're pretty good about using their IPs. Like, I have been nothing but absolutely pleased with how THQ Nordic has handled Darksiders, for example. Darksiders 3 might not be my favorite in the series. I think Darksiders Genesis holds that. So, there you go. The most recent Darksiders game was my favorite of the bunch. And so, yeah, if they could even, like, have half that level of quality applied over to, a Kingdoms of Amalur successor, I'd be happy. Smaller and shorter, and maybe more focused, too. THQ's been buying up, or Nordic's been buying up a lot of rights to old games. They did a good job with Titan's Quest. They do a good job with a lot of things. Like, none of them are ever, like, masterpieces. But they're good. And, like, I've never felt like, with modern THQ Nordic, I've never felt like they've been wasting my time with games. I have had small grumpos here and there, but it's like...
How do you break a pact, anyway?
I have no clue. But if anyone can succeed, it would be him. We have to be hopeful.
One did a bad one. I typed your message. That is, it's fine. I get it.
My endurance is waning.
Okay, how are we doing? We're actually doing pretty, oof. Going into that pyramid is going to take a little while. But I do enough damage that I'm not too worried.
Daybreakers! Remember what we fight for. One with the light! One with the light!
The diversion is starting.
We should hurry. They're counting on us to open the main gate.
I really want to play an ARPG like this at some point, but where everybody is just a mech. And so instead of getting armor, you're getting, like, different leg pieces and stuff. Why has nobody made that? Holy shit, that would be cool. Because then you could have, like, hover legs, quad legs, like ARPG The Surge. Sort of, but not really. Isn't LiveLock the game you're talking about? Maybe. I think I remember playing that once and being kind of bored by it. I just want more games where I can be a robot. Dungeon's a bit bigger. Oh, you know what? This has got to be the pyramid tile set. Because I haven't seen this tile set yet. Maybe. Let's see. Wonder, are you familiar with Cogmine? Yeah, I have it installed, actually. It was one of the games on the Indie Game Lightning Round before I put that on hold. Moron doesn't put local co-op into an action RPG. Morons that want you to be playing online for some reason. I don't really get it myself. I will admit this game is pretty damn fun, and I'll take an offline mode, but yeah, they should have had. They should have had local multiplayer as well. Or local area network, or, I don't know, small ones. Yeah, what happened to LiveLock? Is that done? Oh. Yeah, I remember playing this, thinking it was neat. But also that I didn't... I think there's a couple of things. I think my issues with it are... LiveLock wasn't fun to play alone. And the environments were super boring. Like, say what you want about this game, but the environments... Well, they're kind of generic fantasy, dark fantasy, grim dark, whatever. They look nice, and I like to look at it as I go by. LiveLock had, like, I think it was just, like, crashed buses, ruined modern buildings, and stuff like that. And, boy howdy. I am just so sick of that specific tile set. Let's see. Oh, did it tell me the wrong time? Here, give me a second. Let me actually read your message, because I shouldn't be a jerk about this. 29 months! Sorry, I don't know why I saw 11. But yeah, kind of scary long time, but I've enjoyed every bit of it. Yeah, thank you. And I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm mildly distracted. I'm trying to race through this tonight. The environments in Darksiders Genesis were beautiful. Darksiders is it's such an absolutely underrated series. It doesn't even... Nothing else has, like, ever really come close in terms of just, like, pure cool for me. This poor guy. He tried. Let's see. I don't really think any of these are that good. He tried. It didn't work. I'm just gonna stop picking up blues. I don't think I need them. It's such a good game series. People just excuse it as Grimdark Zelda. I think that came out back in the...
Nearby. Careful
Oh,
now.
that's my Cobra.
We've reached their back line.
These are Federator cannons. I could recognize their thunder anywhere.
Purifiers brought big artillery this far north. Seems that the Senate will spare no expense to get its keep back.
Wow, those are big bullets. But yeah, I'm actually a little bit shocked how back in the 2000s when Darksiders 1 first came out, and there weren't even that many, like, good games out that year, and everybody was like, it's just God of War plus Zelda, and it's like, nowadays if somebody said that to me with, like, it's like, it's a well-made indie game that's effectively Zelda, but with some God of War spectacle fighting, I'd be like, which God of War, but also yes. And I'd be super down with it, because, like, God, my standards are low. Maybe. Picking up blues would help with transmog choices. Ooh, that's a good point. Okay. I'll bite. That's a good reason. We are still getting some nice transmogs here and there.
Brother, help!
I was thinking, what part of that description isn't supposed to sound amazing? I think I almost... Ooh. I almost wonder if a small... the main reason is purely just because... back in the mid-2000s... Ooh, that is a pretty spalder. Oh, this is actually really pretty. Let's go Sacred Wing. I want that skin. But back in the mid-2000s, what's my crit chance at this point? 10%. It's okay. Mid-2000s, people were really reliant on reviews to tell them whether or not a game was good. You had to go through places like IGN and whatnot. And if the syndicated, gaming journalists said it's not a good game, a lot of people would believe them because there wasn't anything else. A lot of Zelda and God of War games, and a lot of games that tried to be similar to those. See, you say that, but I don't really think so. There was a lot of Zelda games, but even then, like, the Zelda games were fairly few and far between. There was a fair bit of time between Twilight Princess and Wind Waker. There were a decent amount of God of War games. Maybe the point was there was a lot more, like, good AAA games back then? Maybe? I don't know. We still need reviews. Oh, I absolutely agree. I think reviews are important. I think the thing is, reviews stopped being the end-all, be-all with Steam and a couple other, like, large-scale distribution platforms. Because the thing is, like, nowadays, new game comes out, where do you guys check first? Because I can guarantee the answer is completely different than what it used to be 10 years ago. We lived in an age with no microtransactions. Huh. Now
Too big.
that's an interesting point, if only because, like, no microtransactions meant AAA was kind of pure, quote-unquote. With a couple of, like,
Don't be
small
shy. Hobby
exceptions.
has everything a soldier needs.
It sounds like somebody is dying in my left ear, and I hate
Your
it.
patronage is appreciated.
Let's see. Snap it. Let's see. Go to Metacritic nowadays. Listen to YouTubers with the same taste in games as you. YouTube, watch somebody else play the thing. Or Twitch. Anyway. Valeria looks like she's fine. I've never spent money buying games digitally. Never bought a microtransaction. Parents raised you right. I bought plenty of my microtransactions. I think there are some that are kind of worthwhile, and I understand why they exist now. I generally prefer microtransactions in games that only have microtransactions, or games that I've put X amount of hours in. How would I describe it? $1 an hour. If I start going past that, say if I play a game for 100 hours and I paid $60 for it, yeah, I could toss some microtransactions in. Warframe is probably a good example. I've definitely bought a fair bit of microtransactions in theirs, and I realized that like that's kind of part of the problem. But I think a lot of the other part of the problem is just the fact that people don't have enough money to pay for video games full price anymore. So developers have had to find alternate ways of milking people for cash. That's not great. What's a game that I spent some money on recently? I bought one of the characters for Zombie Army 4 because I wanted to be a zombie British guy instead of one of the standard human people. I thought that was kind of worthwhile. I will oftentimes for a series, especially if I'm recording something, I will oftentimes buy a fancy looking skin so that I look cool over the course of the series as opposed to some kind of weird vaguely homeless looking person for like half the series, and then after that I'm a mismatched super juggernaut. Now I'm just purple with this game. I don't like to pay to win. Any game that's like buy this thing and like get to the end game faster or whatever, that's usually the point where I start like checking out super hard. Easiest example I can think of, there was Albion Online. It was one of those like MMOs, came out a couple of years ago. Apparently people are still into it because like I keep getting people begging me to go back. I guess they had a like new big update. But I remember with Albion Online, I really digged I liked the idea of it. But then I like did more research into it, played it a bunch, and then looked at the subscription service, and the answer is like, if you want to actually like be competitive in that game, or even like not sell your soul to the grind, you have to pay the subscription cost. And the subscription cost gives you more or less what should have been just like basic in the game. And it was monetized inconvenience. They were monetizing the inconvenience of like playing the game normally, forcing people that, you know, didn't want to put up with it to pay in. And I didn't like that. That felt really wrong. I'd be super down for spending $30 on like a really sweet skin in Path of Exile. Like, I'm down with that always. Not super keen in other games like what would I say? Well, I mean, we were talking about Shadow of War earlier. I really did not like their monetization practices. Those look skeezy as shit, and I hated them. Let's see, most people put thousands of hours in Warframe. If by your logic they'd be rich. I mean, if a game gets thousands of hours of your time, unless yeah, you can't afford it or don't want to for whatever reason, you probably should throw a couple bucks at them. I guess I take this from the perspective of like, everybody kind of deserves to be paid for the work they put in, and if I'm not supporting a person that I've got a lot of enjoyment out of, then I feel guilty. So what is it specifically? The other day, Shull actually drove out to a gallery to find a couple of pieces by some of her favorite artists, because they're actually doing a show in town. And she was like, oh, I can actually buy like a physical version of some of their artwork. And yeah, obviously she got a good for it. But I've done this a couple of times with devs where I will chuck, like, a couple bucks at them, specifically just to support them. I know I was doing that with Hopfrog for Forager. Originally I did it for originally I did it to get access to the game, but then, you know, I just stayed a Patreon up until the release of the game because I wanted to support its development. Because it was a neat game, and I thought the guy, you know, did great work with it. Now I'm kind of bored of the game, but that's because I've played somewhere near 100 episodes of the game. Let's see, any idea what games are going to be at PAX East? Actually, no. I'm going to be on vacation at the same time, so I'm not going to bother. Let's see. The things that I'm not super interested in paying for. I mean, honestly, we brought up Fallout 76 earlier, and I think I'm going to stand by that one. Paying for a lot of stuff in that game, especially, feels wrong. Maybe if I put more hours into it, but, like, good lord, the prices are not okay. And I don't even know if they're going to be charging people for the NPCs. If they are, I'm going to be upset. Okay, do I want a new axe? Probably not. Yeah, normally I go to PAX East every year. I think I'm probably going to do PAX East on an every other year thing-ish. It depends. Part of it is just, like, last year I was so sick going to PAX that I just didn't want to go back again. And then they moved it to February instead of, you know, having it later in the year when it's warmer. Because I'm from Boston. I don't like Boston in the winter. Boston in the winter is awful. It's just not fun. It's just, I'm not going to say it's an ugly city, but it's a big city, it's cold, it's wet, and, like, you really have to go far to get anywhere interesting in Boston. So, like, the convention center is not within, like, walking distance of anywhere interesting, whereas, like, I really like PAX West, because you can walk, like, 10 minutes and go to a really good Mediterranean restaurant, or, like, 20 minutes and pretty much have access to anything in the city. And so yeah, that's my reasons for not going. Well, that, and yeah, like I said, going to Disney. Because I don't go on vacation often, and it'll be nice to do so. Let's see, it's interesting how there are some groups that you're happy to give money to and others that you're just not. I think more businesses would be interested in getting into the earlier category. I think the thing is, it's actually more profitable to be in the latter category. Like, I'm pretty sure Fallout 76 is making more money by being awful than it would have been by being good. Well, no. I'm sorry. The DLC monetization practices. I'm not talking about the game. Like, if they had been really nice with their DLC monetization practices, I'm sure they would have gotten a decent amount of money. But by nickel and diming people like crazy, they are milking a small and committed fan base for all they're worth forever. Damn, that went fast. Starting with building a house with your wife, so no vacations in the near future. Yeah, but this way you get a house. I'm probably going to be a renter for a while. Until I find something that really keeps my interest. Or something, a location. We'll see. I was about to defend Boston having stuff, but yeah, the convention center's kind of out of the way. I don't like having to take the bus or the train just to be able to go out to dinner. or lunch or something like that. That just didn't feel good to me. I'll do it if there's somewhere specific, but it's like, if I don't have an option and my only option is food trucks, bleh. Let's see. Heard of the Magic Circle. It's a game about breaking a game. I have the Magic Circle. I've never gotten around to playing it. I should at some point, but... Time? I should probably throw it on the indie game lightning round like everything else. Let's see. Cult resistance. Yeah, we're only interested in anything that gives me block chance. Because currently I've effectively got a decent damage reduction purely from block chance. Need to up my block efficiency too, though. Let's see, what's my resistances at? Yep, still about the same. Physical's pretty good. Block chance is 80. Yeah, so if I can get my efficiency up, that'll be nice. Okay, Sovereign Shout. Eh. Warpath. Eh. I mean, I'll grab that, I guess. Oh, interesting. By investing that, we do get a little bit more crit chance. Cool. Let's see. Reducing that cooldown is useful. Reducing the rage cost, also useful. Not gonna use it too much. What else do we have here? Crit damage. Tick rate on getting a crit. Enemy projectiles are deflected. Oh, we have an extra one. So I could get this if I were to turn off... this? No. I don't really need the continual mode. I'm fine. Let's see. So, Wander, did any of your videos get hit by Kappa? Nope. You got so scared you deleted all the videos from your channel. If I remember right, I specifically told you not to do that. Because, no, not a single one of my videos got Kappa'd. And, pretty much none of my videos ever will. The Kappa guidelines were actually shockingly specific. The problem is a lot of people kind of ignored that and were just like, it's the end of YouTube! But like, no. Kappa was very much specifically against those like creepy nursery rhyme channels. And people that were like advertising to kids and like aimed at kids. And so unless you were specifically being like, baby's first book, then you pretty much have nothing to worry about. You want global life leech? Nah, let's just keep going. Let's just keep going for tank spec. But yeah, never ever listen to somebody that profits off of your fear. For those of you that don't know, Kappa is a...
Last stretch before the walls are ahead of us.
If that's a siege, then expect fortifications. Let's just hope the Daybreaker's diversion worked.
Only one way to know for sure.
Let's see. So what was I going to say? Right. Ooh, that's a pretty looking thing. We might have to go, like, full Dawnstone skins at some point. I'm fine being Grimace, the battle monster. But at some point, maybe I'll try and look like Golden or something. We'll see how it goes. Let's see. But yeah, so Kappa was an advertising regulation in the US, more or less saying you can't advertise to children. Because it's predatory and creepy, and, you know, a lot of bad stuff is being put in front of kids that shouldn't be, especially because young kids aren't supposed to be on YouTube at all. That's what YouTube Kids is for, blah, 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 it keeps going. And effectively, the murky gray dye. Okay, so we might actually be able to be look reasonable here. But effectively, forget which regulatory body in the U.S. Was in charge of this, but they wised up to the fact that YouTube was gleefully profiting off of this, and even bragging about it a little bit, because of course YouTube's kind of dumb. about some things. And boy, howdy, they made a lot of money. Like, I'm pretty sure the fine they had to pay was pennies compared to the amount of money that they made as a result of this. Anyway, Big Bertha.
I can't do that.
Brother, help!
It's not possible.
Okay. Well, this is much easier than the last one along the way. That's the perennial problem with a lot of those finds. Yep. Whoop, whoop, whoa. That lightning was painful. Damn. Okay. Let's see. But yeah, so YouTube gets smacked around for it, pays a big fine, and then effectively, was it the FTC or is the FCC? It was one or the other. I always get them confused in a bad way. But effectively, YouTube gets smacked around, has to put new regulations in place to protect kids. And the regulatory body is also like, by the way, YouTubers, seeing as a number of you guys are gleefully abusing this, if we catch any of you gleefully abusing this, we're gonna...
Change of plans. A group of Daybreakers has decided to join the party. More fun for us. We're moving out to Cell G until they are dealt with. Remember your oath. The Senate is watching. Purity in sacrifice.
Let's see. FTC, and you're not even in the US. If you're not in the US, I wouldn't worry about it. They can take your videos down, but they can't actually fine you.
Let's go! Move it! You'll all die!
In the same manner.
My endurance is waning.
At least not in any kind of reasonable way that would stick. Or get you in, like, too much trouble. I mean, obviously, I'm not a legal representative, but... for starters, always with a lot of these things, if you are a small beans YouTuber, and, like, barely have any subscribers to your name, no one is gonna come after you first. That is, you're gonna be the last person to get hit for it. They'll go for the big juicy ones, first and foremost. And they did to a lesser degree when it comes to the, like, COPPA regulations. Like, there are some channels that have straight up shut down as a result of COPPA. Those were the ones that were advertising directly to children constantly. Go figure. Anyway, so FTC says, like, yeah, we're gonna slap you with fines if you are abusing, you know, this specific, fairly sensitive, you know, content, consumer group. Go figure. And a bunch of YouTubers latched onto this, and it's like, the sky is falling, it's the end of YouTube, it's Adpocalypse 5.3, and just doom and gloom for like a week or two. To the point where I actually had, I felt compelled to put a video out on it, just being like, just chill. It's fine. And the amount of people that were like, your channel will die, can't wait to see you, on January 1st and where your channel is going to be. You're going to be homeless. Seriously, go check out some of the comments on my video. They were wild. It's a lot easier to gather evidence for the big ones. Yep. And also they're the ones that you can make the most amount of money from. Most company regulatory bodies aren't going to be terribly interested in, like, slapping a fine at, like, a small YouTuber first. They'll be the last ones to get, just because those fines will pay for slapping more people, whereas slapping, say, one small babby YouTuber that barely has anything to their name, slapping them with a fine is just going to cost them money more than anything else. Anywho, but, like, some YouTubers I was actually, like, legitimately fans of were just screaming about this as though it was going to be, like, the end of their channels and so on and so forth. And, like, we're so mad that they took a month off just to, like, stew? I don't even know. It was confusing and it was upsetting because it's like, you'll know when YouTube is actually going down the tubes because it'll shut down. Before that, it'll just be mild and inconvenient changes constantly. But, like, even then, I don't think the platform's actually changed in a terribly meaningful way. Ever since they moved from views being the main Ooh, that might actually be worth it. Yeah, because I'm not actually really using that, so let's go with this amulet. Oh. And we gotta go back. And people so much like all the doom and gloom scenarios. Oh yeah. I mean, people love a good
Hello there,
controversy.
friend.
People
Please browse my way.
thrive off of having something to stress about, and if you don't have something to stress about, then it feels weird.
Quality on this one is unmatched.
And it really does not help that in our extremely interconnected world, it is very easy for people that can profit off of that sort of thing to disseminate as much information as possible. Quickly, easily, and to a large and increasingly concerned audience. I have a lot of problems with, like, the 24/7 news cycle, the breaking news, and the so-and-so slams so-and-so, very adversarial, very sports commentary, very clickbait. Yeah, all of those things I feel like have kind of...
Reinforcements are all leaving towards Cell G! What the hell is going on back there?
have kind of ruined people, because now it's less about the news and more about the latest controversy, and I don't like that. And I've fed into it a couple of times. I've definitely had moments of, like, pure malicious schadenfreude watching some YouTuber get their comeuppance for, I mean, oftentimes for actually doing something awful, or not. But the more it happens, the more I kind of realize that, like, yeah, that was somebody's life that just got ruined. And for some people, yeah, I think it was justified. Like, I was a big fan of Kerbifor back in the day, but finding out that he was part of this ring of just kind of awful dudes, and
Medic!
was like...
Where's the bloody medic? Stay with me.
You know, passively supporting some fairly vile things. Like, yeah, okay. Getting removed from Fire Emblem, I think, was a fairly reasonable thing. And it wasn't even that got him smacked. It was him breaking an embargo that got him noticed. And so, like, that was a moment where I was actually feeding into it, and I shouldn't have.
What are the orders?
There are no orders. We're cut off from command. We're on our own.
Let's see.
Surrender your wrath.
Another amulet. So at this point, I'm not even, like, replacing most of my gear, unless it has some really good effect, or if it's just extremely outdated equipment. Because the gear actually barely changes in this game. Equipment, weapons maybe. Shields. Well, I'm just gonna let that guy stay trapped there forever.
Incoming!
But no, I just remember, just to go back to the... Wow, there's so much screaming. Just to go back to Kappa for a little bit, because there's going to be so much more screaming as we get to this. It wasn't worth worrying about. Everybody panicked and or went into this, like, weird schadenfreude frenzy. And then nothing happened, because the world is boring, mostly. Go get pissed off and worried about global warming. That's actually, well, global warming, climate change. You know, that's the sort of thing that you can doom and gloom about in a justified manner, because it's spooky as shit.
Brother, help!
No.
I like it how I say no. I don't even know where she is in this mess. She's around here somewhere.
Come on now.
I'll make them pay!
I like these big battlefield moments in Diablo likes. Throne of Ball was like an absolute masterpiece of an expansion pack. I wish we got more stuff like that.
I need a breather.
Probably should not use my stamina. Ooh, 25% maximum health. Hell yeah. Let's see. should I do aside from working hard on YouTube stuff? I mean, only you can really answer that. Working hard on YouTube is good. There might be better things to do. Without knowing more about anybody's situation, I can only give, like, limited life advice. Having hobbies and, like, working out is always good. Like, no matter what, fitness always pays dividends no matter how old you are, or how unfit you are, or anything like that. Let's see. I was looking at the actor for J. Jonah Jameson. I think he's both the voice actor in a lot of things, but also the like live action actor in all of the movies. Oh, I never can remember his name. Absolutely lovely guy. Love his work. He was Klaus in Klaus and a bunch of other things. And I was just looking at a image of him, and like the most recent photo that was like online was of the dude working out of the gym and being absolutely ripped, and I was just kind of taken aback because I was just like, huh. I don't usually see a whole lot of actors that aren't in, like, heavy physical roles getting ripped. I thought that was actually really cool. I need to work out more. Galahine the Undefeated. Let's fix that. By spitting, and then shout at man, and then back to spitting. Hell yeah, spitting. The neatest trick.
I can't carry that.
Seriously, already? God damn, I'm getting a lot of items that I don't need, but I'm grabbing to pick up skins, maybe. Alright, let's go back for a bit. Oof. I wanted to finish this in short order tonight, and here I am just going back and forth. Well, it's okay. I can pretty much just sell everything non-stop.
Your patronage is appreciated.
But did I not actually use the Murky Grey dye bottle? Whoops. I guess I must have forgotten pretty quickly. So the question is, do I want to actually make myself look like a reasonable human being? Nah. But also, like, Wander Life advice. Maybe not the best thing, especially for, like, really specific stuff. Because that's... The one thing is, like, I'm not a good expert on things. I will admit, I've lived a very privileged life.
We're almost at the wall.
And I've gotten very lucky with a lot of things. And I mean, a lot of that luck also does boil down to, like, opportunities. And, really making the most of what I had available to me. One thing truly was, like, never focusing on one thing specifically, which can be good or bad. Backup plans have been one of the main reasons why I'm able to even do this. This was just a hobby for a while, that I worked on to keep sane while I was, you know, applying for jobs and such.
My endurance is waning.
And so it's kind of one of those where it's like, I did this as a side thing, but I put my all into it. I didn't spend all of my time doing YouTube, especially early on before I went full-time. Let's see. 500 toughness. I am tanky. Alright, attack damage with this. Do we want to go this way? Yeah. Because anytime I block something, they're going to take full damage from my hits. And boy howdy, I block a lot. And now it's my job, yeah. And honestly, people that can actually pull off, like, becoming a full-time streamer and YouTuber, it's a very small number. So, like, never ever bet on this. Ever. Like, It should not be anybody's first plan. I know I had a... God, what was it? I think it was a 16-year-old I was talking to at some point. Active skills have upgrades. Yeah, I've been kind of ignoring it because I'm lazy. Let's see. I don't even really need the stun, to be honest. It's like, it's okay. Crit chance buff? I'll take it. But yeah, I'd obviously do it if it's what you're into and you want to have as like a side thing. But like I remember talking to a 16-year-old who said they weren't even planning on going to college. They were just going to get a microphone and become a YouTuber streamer. And I forget their username, but I haven't seen it again on YouTube, Twitch, or anywhere else. So I'm assuming it didn't pan out for them, and they probably either got a dose of reality or something, or gave up. I mean, most people don't even like really. People are fairly plastic up until about 25. After a certain, J.K. Simmons, that's the name. I always forget. It's if a person is J.K. or J.R. I remember first names slightly better.